Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching NDTV and this is Battle for States, where we track elections and their impact very closely. When the India or the INDIA alliance was formed with the Congress and like-minded parties, there were many questions. How will these parties manage seat sharing or ideology or campaign or social media war rooms? The run-up of the assembly polls in Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh have made it clear that it's not going to be an easy task for the allies to take on the BJP in 2024. These elections were a primer, a test of sorts to examine the preparedness of these parties to sit across the table and decide on a strategy to present a unified face to give an assurance to voters. But that has not happened. Let me state some numbers to tell you why. In Rajasthan, Aam Aadmi Party has fielded candidates in 44 seats. In Madhya Pradesh, it has fielded 70 candidates, and in Chhattisgarh, the party will see 45 of its candidates contesting. Left parties have 29 candidates in Rajasthan, 13 in Madhya Pradesh and 15 in Chhattisgarh. JDU and Samajwadi Party have also fielded candidates in 53 seats in MP. So simply stated, in over 150 seats in 3 states, the Congress will be facing its own allies. Now, how will that hurt the party's chances? Could the India allies have avoided this? Does this benefit the BJP? And most importantly, what impact will it have on the prospects of a functional and actual united opposition in the run-up to 2024 Lok Sabha polls? That is the question we are asking tonight. And to discuss this, we have my colleague Mayank Mishra, who has analyzed the numbers. We also have other experts, political analyst Avinash Kalla and Desh Saxena with us. Thank you very much for joining us on NDTV. Mayank, let me come to you first. The moot question here is Aam Aadmi Party and Samajwadi Party and JDU are fighting. Will it really impact the Congress? And also, if you look at the data from Madhya Pradesh, some of the seats such as Gwalior South or and others that Congress will have to face, not just BJP and also Aam Aadmi Party, are these seats are the seats that the party has won with very few votes. Can you give us some specific examples of how Aam Aadmi Party has altered the outcomes for the Congress in the past?
I will give you 3 scenarios. One about seats where Aam Aadmi Party candidates made a difference in 2018. Second set will be about Samajwadi Party candidates making a difference. And third scenario is about those seats where both the parties had candidates and they made some difference. When I say made some difference, what I mean is in seats where Aam Aadmi Party made some difference are the seats where votes difference between winner and loser was less than the number of votes polled by Aam Aadmi Party. So if Aam Aadmi Party candidates were not there, election outcome would have been different. Right. In those seats where Aam Aadmi Party made difference in Madhya Pradesh 2018, Congress ended up winning most of the seats. In seats where Samajwadi Party candidates made a difference, they hurt the Congress the most. And in seats, and there were 47 of them where both Aam Aadmi Party candidates and Samajwadi Party candidates were there, bulk of the seats went to BJP, which means wherever these two parties put up candidates, it hurt Congress the most, and there were 15 seats where once again the combined vote share of these two were less than the margin of victory. Congress won just 3 of them and BJP won 10 of them. So key takeaway is, and we are talking about 60 days after India Alliance had a meeting in Mumbai, where they talked about having a common manifesto, common joint minimum program, common social media outreach, joint rally, etc. Nothing seems to have happened so far, and divided house will end up hurting the Congress and its allies. This is what data says.
Right. Mr. Kalla, this is an interesting point that Mr. Mishra is making. Now, we saw the Congress has been rather insistent on not parting with seats. We saw Samajwadi Party chief Akhilesh Yadav accusing the party of cheating Samajwadi Party and saying that, had he known that this alliance was only for national level, I wouldn't have sent the Suchi, I wouldn't have even answered your calls. That's what I heard him say. Do you think the Congress should have been more accommodating of the smaller parties, or do you think the smaller parties should have, perhaps knowing that it's largely a bipolar fight, tone down their ambitions?
Vasudha, it's a long time for the Lok Sabha polls to happen. Right now, what the Congress is facing in these states is the state elections. And before this whole India alliance came into being, they should have made it very clear. They've met a few times, only at some distance. They should have got the ground realities clear and told it to partners, where are we joining hands and where we are not. Like you rightly mentioned it out, in Aam Aadmi Party in Rajasthan is contesting over 40 seats. Not just them, even RLD and LI of them last time contested 2. This time we are hearing they were asking for 5 seats. There is a tussle that is going on between them. So the India alliance looks good on paper. Every time it comes together, they make a news. But there doesn't look like an urgency among them to contest together, make their mandate clear, fight it in a united way. It doesn't look likely. And even in the past, when Congress used to have allies and it ran a successful government, those ally makers are no more with the Congress party. We don't have Mr. Ahmed Patel or Mr. Ghulam Nabi Azad. Those troubleshooters who could keep the flock together are not there with the Congress party anymore. Under Rahul Gandhi, Congress is like my way or the highway. Many places they will have to make their allies understand that they are the leading partner, and at some places they will have to concede ground to the allies because the allies are more powerful. Right now, India looks a good headline on paper, but they don't have a cohesion in them. Or even if they have a cohesion among themselves, they are not putting that cohesion forward. So going forward, this doesn't look like a practical solution at the moment. Their only option is that because, we are all together and arithmetically the number looks good, we should be a good choice. But would that be a practical choice remains to be seen.
Right. Mr. Saxena, what about Madhya Pradesh? Can you tell us what is the ground situation in MP specifically? And do you think this is a voice of confidence by the Congress to not really entertain smaller parties? What do you think, sir?
Yeah, you mentioned that AAP candidates are contesting on 70 seats, Samajwadi Party on 69, but you forget about JDU also. JDU is also contesting on 10 seats. Yeah. But when we look at macro level, things may look different. But if you analyze, go seat by seat, things are entirely different. And I always say that 2 and 2 may not always be 4 in politics, especially in Indian contest. If we take examples of some of the seats, like I'm going on at micro level. There is a seat in Damoh where there is a candidate of Aam Aadmi Party, and she is a popular TV actress. Her name is Chahat Pandey, and she is a political non-entity. So she is hardly going to make any difference there in Damoh. There are about 8 to 10 seats in Madhya Pradesh where they may make some difference. And like you mentioned, in Gwalior South, where Congress candidates had won with a margin of only 121 seats. In Rajnagar, which is where the famous tourist destination Khajuraho is located, he had won with a margin of 732 seats, 732 votes. So, things may look different, but in Madhya Pradesh, what is happening is Aam Aadmi Party and Samajwadi Party, or even JDU, they are 3 platforms where disgruntled politicians are contesting both from BJP as well as Congress. So, if, for example, if a BJP candidate is contesting from Aam Aadmi Party or Samajwadi Party or JDU, so the BJP votes are, he or she is going to purchase the votes of BJP, and BJP is going to be harmed by the candidates of said party. And if in the same way, if he or she is contesting from Congress, so Congress candidate is going to be harmed. So things are different on different seats, and there are 10 seats, as I told you, 9 to 10 seats where they may make some difference. But still, I feel that in most of the parts in Madhya Pradesh, Aam Aadmi Party candidates or Samajwadi Party candidates, they are not going to make much difference. But yes, if, as I told you, like in Gwalior South, he had won with a
Yes.
margin of only 121 votes. And if if same political scene or chemistry continues there this year also, and if our candidate
Right.
there is some votes, so it may harm Congress. But
Right.
the most important thing is that the way Mr. Kamal Nath and Mr. Akhilesh Yadav spoke about each other, they should exercise restraint.
Right. Right. Mr. Mishra, tell us what does data say about this point that Mr. Saxena was making? Does Aam Aadmi Party, whenever it fights an election, does it always end up benefiting the Congress? Because, in Gujarat, I remember the last election I covered, Aam Aadmi Party was second in 35 seats, and it also led to the Congress getting just 17 seats, which was its worst performance in a long time. So what does data say about Aam Aadmi Party fighting and, benefiting either the BJP or the Congress?
DSDB said कि Aam Aadmi Party is at best a marginal player in most of the seats. They were marginal player in 2018 also. They made difference in just 6 seats, and Samajwadi Party made difference, and I am talking about Madhya Pradesh, in 8 seats. So together they made a huge difference in 14 seats, and a closely contested election like Madhya Pradesh, 14 seats matter a lot. So even if they are fringe player in most of the seats, they made some difference. But situation is slightly different in Chhattisgarh and Rajasthan. In Chhattisgarh, Aam Aadmi Party made difference in 2 seats, and both the seats went to the BJP. So that says that in Madhya Pradesh they ended up harming the Congress.
Okay.
They benefited the Congress in Madhya Pradesh, but they harmed the Congress prospect in Chhattisgarh.
Right.
And they did not make any difference in any of the seats in 2018 in Rajasthan. So that is what data says.
Right.
3 states, 3 different outcomes.
Right. Mr. Kalla, so that's an interesting point that Mr. Mishra is making. So Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh have always seen as states where smaller parties and independents make a difference. So Rajasthan more so. So we have seen parties like RLD and BSP and even BTP, which is the Bharatiya Tribal Party, doing well. Can you tell us about the significance of these smaller parties in these states?
So that these smaller parties are very important when it comes to the assembly elections of Rajasthan. There they do have a deciding role. All the parties that you have named. Other than that, there is another smaller party called RLP, though not an ally of the Congress. But BSP has been consistently taking 4 to 5% of votes, and they have been winning in the last 3 elections. They have won 6 seats twice and 3 seats once. So they have been adding seats. BTP has been influential in 8 to 9 seats. Now, these are small pockets, and despite BJP in the last tenure getting a majority of 163 seats, still at that time there were 16 seats that went to these independents and smaller parties. So the smaller party vote kitty in Rajasthan is very intact. In pockets like Nagaur, tribal areas of Baswada and Dungarpur, you go towards the eastern Rajasthan, where western UP area is a border area. These are the places where independents and small regional shatabs have a strong vote. And mind you, Aam Aadmi Party started very well in this election campaign. They don't have that much of vote, but even in 3 to 4 seats where they are important and they are an ally, they can be the spoiler of the game for the Congress party. So the consistent thing in Rajasthan elections is that these small shatrabs do command a 10 to 15% vote share,
Right.
which might swing the fortunes of the Congress party.
Right. Mr. Saxena, what about Madhya Pradesh? How significant are these smaller parties? Because Gondwana party is there. We know BSP is also really it also has its own voter base in Gwalior Chambal region. How significant are these smaller parties in Madhya Pradesh? And also, how is the BJP looking at this factional fighting within the Congress and also amongst these allies of India Alliance? How is the BJP looking at this?
BJP is, BJP is happy, in fact. The other day, Mr. Amit Shah was in Madhya Pradesh and he had exhorted the BJP leaders to make happy all the Samajwadi Party candidates, Aam Aadmi Party candidates and JDU candidates so that they can ensure victory of BJP candidates in the respective seats. Having said that, the smaller parties, like we are discussing about Samajwadi Party and Bahujan Samaj Party, they are strong in the areas of Madhya Pradesh where the state shares border with Uttar Pradesh. Like Samajwadi Party has some stronghold or some influence in districts like Chhatarpur, Tikamgarh, and Panna districts, which are close to Jhansi and Bundelkhand and the districts of Bundelkhand and UP. Similarly, Bahujan Samaj Party is having its base in Gwalior Chambal region again, where the state shares its border with Uttar Pradesh. You talk about Gondwana Gantan Party, so they have some strongholds in Mahakoshal area, which is basically the Jabalpur and Shahdool regions of Madhya Pradesh. So they have their influences in pockets, but as I said earlier, 2 and 2 may not always be 4 in politics. When we go at micro level, there are several other factors which seem to be functioning. Like in this particular election, the caste factor is very dominant. Like the Dalit votes, they are not. They don't appear to be happy with BJP. So they will not vote BJP in various places, irrespective of fact whether Aam Aadmi Party or Samajwadi Party is contesting from there. So
right.
Things are different at different constituencies in Madhya Pradesh.
Right. Right. Thank you all three of you for joining me on NDTV. That was a panel of experts on the challenges posed by India allies to Congress in poll-bound states. Thank you very much.